In the dark streets of Renaissance Rome, where life teetered between splendor and squalor, Michelangelo Merisi de Caravaggio lived on the edge, an artist whose genius rivaled his demons. He was a man who painted with light but lived in shadow, and in 1608, in the heart of Malta, he would create his greatest masterpiece, the brutal and haunting Beheading of St. John the Baptist. But the blood that stained that canvas wasn't just the saints, it was Caravaggio's own. Caravaggio wasn't just any painter. He was a fugitive, a brawler, and a murderer. The very hands that shaped masterpieces also shed blood. His life was a contradiction, seeking redemption through his art while constantly running from the consequences of his violent nature. In Rome, Caravaggio's temper knew no bounds. He lived fiercely, gambling, fighting, and consorting with the outcasts and the sinners, much like the figures he painted. In 1606, he struck down Ranuccio Tomasoni, killing him in a street fight. It was a crime that would change his life forever. Caravaggio fled, leaving behind the city that made him famous. But this wasn't a tale of a simple escape from justice. No, Caravaggio was running towards something. Redemption, or perhaps damnation. In 1607, Caravaggio sought refuge in Malta, a land of ancient power ruled by the Knights of St. John. These warriors and protectors of Christendom welcomed him, not just as a fugitive, but as an artist of exceptional talent. The titanic force of this work marked a crucial phase of his late years defined not only by the mastery of chiaroscuro, but by the darkness that consumed him. His patron, Grandmaster Olof de Wignacourt, recognized his brilliance and gave him something Caravaggio craved: status. Caravaggio was made a knight, a brother of the order. He had found protection, and with it, he produced art that would shake the world. In Malta, Caravaggio painted his magnum opus, the Beheading of St. John the Baptist. But this wasn't just any biblical martyrdom. This painting was more than that. It was a meditation on his own turbulent life. The saint's blood, pooling on the floor, mirrored the violence that had followed Caravaggio across Italy. His signature, written in that blood, wasn't just a mark of authorship. It was a declaration. Fra Michelangelo, he signed. Brother Michelangelo. But no matter how many honors the knights bestowed upon him, Caravaggio was always battling his demons. Look closely. The executioner struggles with his savage task, and those watching react in a range of emotions. Some horrified, others indifferent. This is not just a moment of death. This is humanity at its core. Caravaggio's use of chiaroscuro, light cutting through darkness, forces us to see the divine in the mundane and the brutal reality of martyrdom. It's an immersive experience where viewers are drawn into the drama, feeling the weight of every brushstroke. Art historians argue that Caravaggio's work doesn't just depict reality, it makes us feel it. His art evokes a deep sense of empathy, of shared emotion with the figures on the canvas. We are not separate from them, we become part of their world. For a fleeting moment, Caravaggio's life seemed on the path to redemption. He was knighted by the Order of St. John, his new title offering him a brief sense of honor, a reprieve from the chaos of his past. But like the chiaroscuro in his paintings, the shadows always lingered. Barely a month after his knighthood, Caravaggio's violent nature resurfaced. A brawl with another knight, Fra Giovanni Rodomonte Roero, left his opponent gravely wounded. Caravaggio once again found himself imprisoned, this time in the ancient fortress of St. Angelo. And yet, even the fortress could not hold him. On the night of October 6, 1608, Caravaggio escaped, slipping into the darkness like one of the figures in his paintings. He left Malta behind, along with the knighthood he had fought so hard to attain. He was once again a fugitive, haunted by his past. But something in his art changed during this time. His palette became darker, his themes more introspective. Paintings like David with the Head of Goliath became self-portraits of guilt, where Caravaggio cast himself as the decapitated Goliath, a symbol of his own downfall. The blood on the canvas wasn't just paint, it was a manifestation of his inner torment. The true power of the Beheading of St. John the Baptist lies far beyond its dramatic composition. It's an intimate reflection of Caravaggio's inner struggles. Art historians Keith Sciberras and David Stone emphasize that this work is not merely another commission, but a deeply personal confrontation. Set within the Oratory of St. John's co-cathedral, where Caravaggio would later be publicly humiliated and stripped of his knighthood, The painting mirrors the artist's own downfall. This was a moment of both artistic triumph and personal defeat. In this haunting scene, the artist's chaotic life becomes palpable. St. John's death, marked by the cold indifference of the executioner and the restrained horror of the onlookers, echoes Caravaggio's own violence and desperation. Sciberras highlights that Caravaggio signed his name in the saint's blood, not merely as a flourish of artistic pride, but as a symbolic gesture. His blood and guilt spilled alongside John's, forever entwined with the fate of the martyr. The stark chiaroscuro, the theatrical contrast of light and shadow, emphasizes the duality at the heart of Caravaggio's existence. The sinner longing for redemption, the artist in search of perfection amidst personal chaos. Malta, in this brief window of time, represented a rare sanctuary for Caravaggio, a place where he could momentarily escape his violent past. But this peace was fragile. His brush controlled the darkness in his art, but it couldn't control the darkness in his life. As Sciberras and Stone argue, Caravaggio's time in Malta became the most crucial phase of his late career, pushing his style to new heights and deeper emotional complexity. The painting doesn't just showcase his mastery of light and form, it's a visual diary of a man at war with himself, seeking salvation through the very violence he sought to escape. It's a profound artistic testament to the tension between control and chaos, highlighting Caravaggio's battle to channel his personal demons into works that transcend their brutality. As Caravaggio fled from Malta to Sicily, then Naples, his art only grew darker. The denial of St. Peter and the raising of Lazarus reflect a man at war with his soul, where the chiaroscuro not only dramatized the biblical stories, but exposed the artist's own spiritual crisis. In the end, Caravaggio never found the redemption he sought. He died as he lived, on the run, caught between the light of his art and the darkness of his soul. But what he left behind was a legacy that would change the course of art forever. Caravaggio was a man who lived on the edge of life and death, sinner and saint. His paintings are more than just images. They are the battles of his soul laid bare for the world to see. Through light and shadow, he gave us not only art, but an invitation to witness his struggle, to feel what he felt. Whether he found redemption, we'll never know. But his legacy, that is eternal. Michelangelo Merisi de Caravaggio, the murderer who painted redemption. Wow, you made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. This was my very first video essay, and honestly, it was such a rewarding experience. I've been wanting to dive into this for a long time, and to finally share it with you feels amazing. If you enjoyed this, I'd love for you to subscribe and stick around for more. Your support means a lot to me, and I can't wait to keep exploring new topics with you. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.